Ain't no take like a second take. Hello, everybody. It's Maniac 4 Bricks. And yes, I'm actually talking about Lego this time on the alternative channel. Normally I'd have Lego on the main channel, Maniac 4 Bricks. But I did want to share a little thing here. I didn't think it was going to take too long and might be fun just as a little side project outside of the other stuff I regularly do. So, I just got a BrickLink haul. I just opened it up. And I said second take in the beginning because the camera ran out of memory. So I have to do this over. This is a BrickLink order from Camel City Brickhouse that I placed not too long ago, arrived pretty quick. And this was to complete a whole bunch of Bionicle figures that I've had for some time, had the whole parts of them, except a couple things here and there, and basically trying to fill in what I was missing. Like, I've gotten these parts from different lots of things. I didn't grow up with these particular figures, so I had to find them myself. I was going to try to trade for them, but didn't really get a response from people, so I was like, you know what, I'll just go to BrickLink. I listed the ones that I was looking for outside of the figures that I already had built, and then was able to find a store that had most of the parts, not all of them, but puts me way ahead than trying to find them from other stores. So they actually included a paper checklist in here, and they've double-checked everything over. I've already checked this personally, and all the pieces are accounted for, so I'm glad that the order was completed. So now I'm just building the figures as much as I can from those parts from the BrickLink haul to get a little bit further along completing these. And if that's the case, if I can get most of them completed, then that puts me much further ahead with my Bionicle collection. Something that I've been slowly doing over several years is trying to complete Bionicle waves of figures. Maybe not entirely every single figure that's ever released, because there are a bunch of them that I either don't care for, I don't think are going to be really important to complete the collection for them, or just too out of reach. And for my goals between this year and next year, I'm actually more focused on getting closer to completing the collections than doing a lot of other stuff. I am still trying to build more mocks, but I will have a separate video between one of the two channels. I'll link down below, or it'll just be a separate video on here. That will explain a lot more about it. I know we're in February, almost into March at this point. So I should have already talked about them, but I try to take a little bit more time to actually get the goals ready and see if it's actually practical to fulfill them between 2021 and 2022. Why between those 2 years instead of just the 1 year? Well, I'd like to make next year really good, and being the 10th anniversary of Maniac 4 Bricks, I want to make it really good. So if it's anything that it's like, okay, giving myself a little bit more time, don't have to complete it by this year, but I also want to make next year worthwhile. I hope that makes sense. I'll see if I can clear that up in another video. So I know that there was an arm piece missing for this figure that I did not find on the BrickLink store, so he's not going to be completed there. There's a couple of other axle pieces and things that I have on the side that I need to grab. Oh, there it is. I got a whole bunch of little bins of parts I've been finding when going through other bins, just to try to complete things, try to move things along. Alright. Got a whole bunch of eyepieces. Luckily, I remember how these figures are built. There are 6 figures in the same wave. They all go together pretty much the same way, and just differences of colors and maybe a little bit of style, but it makes it easy for me to build this without any instructions. And why didn't I pick up these figures originally? I think this was just when I thought, okay, these are pretty much the same, so I didn't see a need when I was younger. This was, I think I was 10 years old when these came out. These specific ones from 2005. I was about 10 years old, so for one reason or another, it was just like, oh, well, I have to get all of them. Or I didn't think, it would take a while to get all of them. Let's see, yep, that's all those pieces that I could use. Gonna have to pull over the other bin. I got a lot of bins of parts around me off camera. Yep. Need those. Gonna need those. And I'm gonna need those. Now, luckily, this one bin has a couple copies of the pieces that I need. And then a few other pieces that I do need, but aren't in here. At least that's what it looks like. Alright, I'll put that one down for now. I'm sure it's not too far away. Got some pieces sorted in this bag that I know that I'll need right now. Just any of the dark blue hand pieces. I actually have been designing a couple Bionicle mocks in the background for the past week or two, and I haven't gotten to build too many of them yet, but I did do another order through this BrickLink store because they had a lot of good parts that I could use towards that building. Not that I can't find the parts in my collection already, but it's a lot easier just to try out fresh. I still have a lot of parts to organize, so I figured it would be a lot faster, and it wasn't too expensive to try a certain thing or two for one of the Bionicle models I want to make. Okay, so give him a hand here, give him a hand here, so now he can hold his weapons. Okay, he's already got a foot there. He's only missing one piece before he's completed as a figure, the green one. The blue one should be completed now thanks to this BrickLink order. Just got the parts right here for the head. It was the closest of the three to be completed, which I'm okay with. I have a whole bunch of Bionicle figures in every wave to some extent. Some of them less than others, and they're all within a whole bunch of Tupperwares off screen. For those who know the Lego room, it's actually outside of the Lego room in another closet. And it's just a couple of Tupperwares stacked on top of each other, and they all have labels on them to say what Bionicle figures are in them, if there are any that are missing, and I'll work from there. So, oh, this one I put on the hand the wrong way. There we go, now we fixed it. So this one is a completed figure, so I'm happy with that. And now I got one more to take a look at, see how far I can get with this one. Now the green one, I know I have the other part for him. It's not too hard. The brown one that's in here, I do not have the parts. There are still one or two that I will need to find, probably again through BrickLink. So that shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Sometimes when I go on BrickLink to find parts, completing figures, and things like that, I try to go through a store that would have it at a good cheap price, like the reason going into the store. But also, if I need to find anything else I could use for projects, then I can nab some things for that too. There's actually a couple basic pieces in here that I need to find. So, just as a rough look for it, there's what I can build for the brown figure Onewa. But there's a couple pieces that I know that I have commonly, like these gray hand pieces for the neck, for the arm, for the hands. The only one that I would need to go back onto BrickLink to find the parts would be this knee piece right here to complete it on that side, and the other piece that attaches on the arm here. It's shown in every figure in a different color. It's basically this joint right here that would connect onto it, so that when you move the gears back and forth, it swings the arm up and down. It only goes for the one arm on each figure. The other arm is intended to be shorter and without that joint. So there we go. This one is completed, so that works out well for me. And this one is only missing one blue joint pin sort of thing, which is not that hard for me to find. It's just not immediately right next to me. But that I'm not even going to show on camera. I'm going to be able to find that shortly after this video and fit the foot right on there, and he'll be completed. So that's great, because then that means 5 out of 6 from this particular wave of figures would be complete and moving things along. I will probably do a video sometime later that will give a better scope of different LEGO themes that I would like to complete. Again, there's no deadline necessarily for them. It would be nice if I could get them completed by next year, or, you know, before 2022 is up. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's fine, and I could still go for it after that point. Yeah, maybe that'd be cool to break it down in a separate video. It might be one of those kinds where I do screen sharing, have myself in a little box in the corner. So we'll talk more about that later. But I am grateful